Surveys about fear reveal that we are more scared of public speaking than we are of dying. Interesting, isn't it? How would you feel if I asked you to pull together a presentation and deliver it in front of 50 people? If you get anxious about this example, you may get the brain freeze, as they often say, you may stumble over your words, you may end up speaking too quickly and simply not delivering your message across the way you would like it to be. For public speaking, the voice of anxiety may sound something like this. People will not be interested in what I have to say. I don't have anything to offer to this group. If I make a mistake, they will laugh at me. I am not competent. I'm not really very good. The ability to regulate our emotions is indeed a lifesaver and a job saver too. You can manage which emotions you experience, when you experience them, and how you react to them. Even though emotions can be useful signals, they can also hurt, come at the wrong time, or be too intense. So we need our own emotional regulations to come and save the day. I actually had a conversation around this a few weeks ago at work, where I currently mentor a couple of graduates in their early 20s. We had a coffee and I asked a simple question around how would they react if I asked them to pull together a short presentation and deliver it to, let's say, 15 or 20 people. It was just supposed to be a conversation, so I know where they're at when it comes to pulling together presentations and public speaking. I've got a number of answers, but they were pretty much around I would feel anxious, I've never done it before, I wouldn't know where to start from, I would get a panic attack. So how do we ensure that we are self-aware of this, and what do we need to put in place to actually avoid being in this situation so that we can prepare a bit better as and when this opportunity arises? Sometimes our work environments can be sink or swim, so how can you manage this situation and prepare better for your presentations and public speaking? Liz Foslian and Molly West Duffy, who I often mention in my videos, have written a fantastic blog, How to Be Emotionally Intelligent at Work. In this blog, they talk about 3 common ways to regulate your emotions. Reappraisal, when you reframe how you see a situation. Suppression, when you actively avoid an emotion by shifting your focus. And response control, when you stifle your laughter or take deep breaths to calm your body. If you memorize the first few sentences of your presentation, you will be able to easily launch into your presentation. You will feel a lot more empowered and confident because you're in control of this content, and your flow and delivery should feel a lot more natural. Over the last 10 years, I had to pull together lots of presentations and deliver it to very small group to large audiences of 50 to over 100 people. And I remember during those times, it was a little bit sink or swim for me because of the roles I was in. It was expected I would have to do it. So I've developed a little checklist every time I'm asked to pull together a presentation. There are certain steps I actually go through to not only manage myself, but to manage people who are asking me to take part in preparing a presentation or delivering this presentation, so I'm actually clear on their objectives and aspirations as to what I need to be mindful of on the day. The first question I go through is, am I clear as to why I was asked to do this presentation? And if I'm not really clear, I should be asking further questions to establish the detail which will help me prepare for my presentation. Is it because of my skills or experience or exposure or the things I've done? I really need to understand as to why I was identified to do this presentation. Where is this presentation taking place? Is it virtual or in person? How many people will be there? Who are they? What are they interested in? What else is going on that day? Is my slot part of a wider agenda? How long is my slot? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 60 minutes? I would then tailor my content to that, but I would leave some time for questions too. I tend to define key features of my presentations up front with my audience so they're really clear as to what I'm trying to get across during my presentation. So I would normally go through what I'm trying to get across, so the what, how I know about it, I quote reliable resources, benefits of this information I'm sharing with them, situations it can be used or refer to further, problems it can solve. So I tend to define the so what. And practice, 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 so this content comes naturally to me, which will enable me to speak in a confident manner on the day. If all this is new to you and you're just embarking on public speaking, I would encourage you to practice with your friends or trusted colleagues at work, where you can actually ask them to give you some feedback on the presentation you pulled together, and practice with them and ask for some feedback as to where they feel you need to improve. And this will certainly help you with your ongoing personal development, and your skill to be able to deliver this will increase in time. I would just encourage you to not rush. There is no need to rush, and try and speak slowly so audience can really pick up everything you're trying to say. And we have to be mindful that our audience may have different needs, that we have to adjust our speaking and the tone and the voice so our audience can really understand what we're trying to get across. So this is us trying to be quite inclusive and understanding that our audience members may have different needs. If you need to come up with an opening statement or a few lines before your presentation starts, just to help you easily start with your presentation, I would encourage you to consider a following draft. But before I share that, I would like to mention that I know a couple of people who actually deliver quite a lot of presentations, and every time they have to do it, they feel exactly the same. Their anxieties rise high, and they then have to manage it on the day as best as they can. And what I've noticed, and this is what I tend to do as well, what works for them is that they contract upfront with the audience before they start to deliver their presentation. So they may say something like this: I'm not always comfortable with delivering presentations and public speaking, which is something I'm working on, but I'm really passionate about this subject that I would like to take you through, as it can really add value with this topic. I'm happy to be interrupted during the presentation if you have any questions, or simply say I will take us through the presentation and we have 10 minutes towards the end for any of your questions. This contracting piece is so important because you're telling the audience as to how you will be going through your presentation. You, for example, have said, I'm happy to be interrupted, just ask me any questions. Or if you're not happy to be interrupted, simply state, I will take you through this presentation and there are a couple of minutes left towards the end for any questions that I'm happy to answer. So this contracting piece is really important. You will feel a lot better, and audience will know what's expected of them as well. If the audience doesn't know who you are, I would always encourage you to state your full name, what you currently do, what's your background and experience, relevance to the subject you're trying to talk about. Sometimes we get asked to pull together a presentation and take part in certain delivery sessions, or sometimes we even may volunteer because there is a full packed agenda and they need a lot of speakers on the day. So I think that's quite important for the audience to know as to, I have been asked to pull together this presentation on this very topic. I'm really passionate about it. I have a lot to say. I hope you'll enjoy my presentation, and happy to take any questions towards the end. It's as simple as that. Let me know in comments how easy or how difficult this comes to you. When was the last time you were asked to pull together a presentation or deliver it to a small group? Have you ever delivered a presentation to any size group? I really would like to understand what stage you're at, because sooner or later, regardless of the scenarios we are in, or businesses we work in, or opportunities we are in, we may be asked to pull together a presentation or speak to a couple of people or larger audiences where we need to get across something. I would like to understand, if you've done anything like this, how did you manage it? Do you have anything else to share with the group that can complement my advice? But I didn't want to make it overcomplicated. This is a straight to the point practical advice that I would like to think it's easy to follow, and I will attach a little checklist for you to download and use further. That's it for this video, and speak to you soon. Bye!